Hello, this is Antidote Alarm, and welcome to another Minecraft Let's Play video. It is episode 77, and yeah, I tried to do, if you know the reference, you know the reference. If you know this skin, you know the skin, okay? There is so much I have to get to, okay? It's like, oh man. I don't know, a lot, but it's weird transitioning, like this series is a lot of things, but I also feel like I should at least mention or talk about serious topics. So like, I don't think anyone really needed me to share an opinion on what's going on, but like, yeah, I think just being silent on like the stuff going on in Israel and like Palestine, like that stuff. Like, yeah, I obviously stand with Palestine, and like I definitely agree with a lot of the stuff people are saying about like, yeah, I don't know, Israel being, just, an illegitimate, whatever it is, a state, it really is a thing where I was thinking about it, and I was like, should I even talk about it? I just think it's better to talk about it, like, I think it's just better to, like, if like, my opinions on things, like, I do agree, I haven't really tweeted anything or, like, said anything in support of it. There are the people who are like, I'm choosing to, educate myself, sit this one out, but like, it's not that hard to just have a statement of like what's going on with the IDF, just bombing Gaza is just not good. It's just a crisis. It's bad by them, yeah, and that's the thing, like saying you support Palestine doesn't mean you saying you support Hamas, that the terrorist organization, it's like, I don't know. What a weird transition, I know, but it's like, I feel like I just have to, have some sort of statement on it. Like, I like the WNBA players post about the situation, all the people there, like there's a whole like thing, it seemingly led that like this whole situation is like, revealing a lot of dark stuff about people, a female comedian in particular who, a lot of people criticize, but there is another comedian that people have criticized due to a New Yorker article that got, had responded to that article, and I want to talk about that, but, yeah, like, it's a whole thing. I just want to get that out there. Yeah, I stand with Palestine. Like, I would agree that it should be free, it shouldn't, yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, yeah, I don't really have to say much else about that, right? I just felt like I had to, in case anyone was wondering, man. I do not support genocide or whatever, I do not support it. Man, I do not support the genocide of the Palestinian people. And like, I feel like that's just a clear thing, like learning from the situation. It's just such a clear thing to take away, like it's seemingly like there's people who've said like it's a complex issue, but like it's actually not the most complex when you look at it. It's like it's not complex when freaking, yeah, civilians, a lot of them are children, are being bombed and freaking, that's the thing. It's not complex. It's just like there's just so many people dying, and yeah, it is sad, and it's like being inundated it on Twitter, X can be a lot, and like there isn't really much you can do, and like, yeah, Democratic politicians don't seem to freaking care at all, and that's a whole thing that like a lot of people are saying that like, this is just a thing that just turns people off of, Biden, right? Just like being like openly supportive, funding money to Israel, and stuff. And like, I don't necessarily have any sort of, I don't know, connection to Israel or anything, yeah. But I just felt like I have to, have this as like a thing, first of all, So, what a way to begin this episode, where I want to talk about a lot of freaking things. It's been a while, man. A month. It's been like a month since the last time I recorded. So I guess that's like my conclusive thing, you know. Yeah, I for like the definitive final time, like I stand with Palestine. I also don't feel like I just have to say that, you know. Like I'm not really looking for any sort of brownie points or anything. It's just, I don't know. I think it's just like, as someone who's on the internet, I guess, maybe people watch me. I feel like there are certain cases where like your opinions have to be clear. Like if, you know, I in 2020, like I basically said like, yeah, I support Black Lives Matter protests. It's like, yeah, you know, even though like it wasn't necessarily a thing where I had to like state that. I didn't like it wasn't that like definitive too back in those early days. Those like first like episodes, I think I like talked about it like into like the single digits in like the first 2 episodes. Yeah, because it was like June of 2020, and that was like when those things were like highest. I would yeah, if that stuff was happening now, like I would feel compelled to say something, because like it's just a situation where like I feel like if you stay silent on it, you know, it can be well intentioned that you stay silent and be like, you know, but you know, I feel like it is better to just like know someone's opinions, you know. Like, yeah, and I think like that you know, my stance is clear. So, you know, I'm not editing this out anyway. So anyways, what else happened, man? You know what is not related to that at all? Everything else I'm gonna talk about for moving forward, you know. Well, I mean, I talked about Natasha Cloud, a WNBA player who plays for the Mystics, and like I liked her post on it, you know. It's seemingly like she's like one of the only athletes who's like actually said something. I think Amir Khan, who's like like a Pakistani British boxer, you know. You may have known him from like what fight, like fighting Danny Garcia, Zab Judah, you know. he got knocked out. Yeah, he got stopped by Danny Garcia, and that's how he won that freaking welterweight championship that in 2012, I think. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, he's also another one who's like made statements in support of Palestine, and it's like the people who have like openly had statements that like are like, no, I stand with Palestine, and not just like, this is a humanitarian crisis, I feel so sad, you know. It's like, it really is a thing where like celebrities are like just showing just their blatant ignorance, you know. And I don't know, I hope like I'm not someone who seems like too like ignorant on this issue, okay? So that's basically like my goal with it. And yeah, I guess speaking of WNBA players and stuff, the WNBA finals happened. That was the like one of the things I talked about last episode. I was interested to see the WNBA finals, and I missed the clinching game for the Aces when they won in Game 4. I totally missed it, but I was just keeping up with it on Twitter, and like it was a really exciting game apparently, because like the Liberty were up like by 10 points like throughout the whole game up until the third quarter, where when the Aces took over, and then like Asia Wilson, you know, dominated the third quarter and onwards. She won Finals MVP. I talked previously about how she got snubbed, arguably, for MVP. Her and Alyssa Thomas, I guess, yeah. And, you know, Breanna Stewart, the player on the Liberty, who they were facing, yeah, you know, put up a very disappointing game in game, was it 4? Yeah, there, yeah. I think a lot of people who were watching, who cared about the WNBA finals, were expecting a Game 5 to happen, because in Game 3, the Aces like lost Chelsea Gray due to injury, and they also didn't have most notably they didn't have Chelsea Gray. I think also they didn't have Kia Stokes. I think so. Yeah, it was just basically they were missing 2 starters on top of losing Candace Parker for like mid-season due to a foot injury. And yeah, the funny thing is that Candace Parker is now a 3-time WNBA champion. She has won with the Aces, the Aces this year. and then the Sky in 2021, and then the Sparks in 2016. You know, I know I'm starting to know more about the WNBA. Look, it's comparable to my knowledge of the NBA. I don't know, man. Yeah, I feel like there is really no denying that basketball is just a thing that consumes my life. I am just, yeah, it can't even be described as that anymore. It's just a part of me. It's a part of me. It was my destiny to always be a fan of basketball due to my heritage, you know. Yeah, so that was cool. I should be really speedrunning these topics, but it's like, yeah, true. I started with the WNBA first because that was just the first thing that came to mind. Asia Wilson, the Aces are back-to-back champions. Asia Wilson is great. She's definitely the face of the league. She really should have a signature shoe. The players on the Aces are so freaking like fun. Like them as a team, they have so much chemistry, and like, oh man, dude, like certain players on that team really are freaking just the pettiest people in the world. Like Alicia Clark, yeah. Oh man, Alicia Clark in the press conference was like, who was the freaking person? I want to know the person who voted Asia Wilson Fort for MVP. Like she just was just like, you know. And then another player, Sydney Colson, who played in the game 4 because Sabrina Ionescu in game 3 in the Liberties building did friggin' the Steph Curry night celebration, which, you know, I'm kind of just like over it at this point at the end of the game. And then people were like, the Aces fans on Twitter, they were just like, why are you doing this? You do this when the series is over, man. I feel like this could come back to bite you. And you only put up 9 points in the game. And it's like, they were going after her, you know? And I feel like it's a thing too. There is this thing, I feel like, there is, of like Sabrina Ionescu. I think when she entered the league was seen as like, wow, she can be the new face, you know. She's like this cool new freaking young face of the league, you know, that could be, you know, part of this new generation of like WNBA players. But like I feel like there's a backlash to that, you know. Maybe because she's white, maybe, you know, like I think that might be the primary thing of just like why the WNBA needs like primarily like white players to market itself, you know, like why can't you market the WNBA with black players, black women players, particularly like dark-skinned black women players. It has this whole thing of like colorism and stuff, you know, like Asia Wilson, certainly. At this point, I don't know what more evidence you need to consider her the face of the league. It's like, yeah, okay. There you go. Well, yeah, Sydney Colson, during the trophy presentation, she got the microphone from friggin' Holly Rowe, and then she's like, night. It's like, in their own building, in the freaking Liberty's own building. It's like, God, jeez, oh my God, dude, they are the pettiest people in the world, man. Like, man, if an NBA team acted that petty, I mean, the Warriors, I guess, but like, oh my God, dude, seriously. And like, yeah, they probably deserved it. Yeah, they probably should be, like, they have every right to be like petty, right? You know, I don't know. I don't think it's anyone's place to judge, right? Because like, why are these champions like not gracious or anything? It's like they did go back to back, and that hasn't happened since the Sparks. You know, the Sparks went back to back 2001 and 2002, right? Yeah. And yeah, the Aces are the first team to go back to back since them. There you go. Another bit of knowledge if you didn't know. I haven't gotten to the NBA yet, but like, who cares? I mean, like, Harden's on the Clippers. He got what he wanted. I mean, like, cool. The Sixers are good, but like, are they gonna make it to the second round? Probably not. The Lakers are looking decent. Okay, cool. They beat the Clippers. Okay. The Nuggets are pretty damn good. Surprising? Yeah, so surprising. The Celtics are like really freaking good. Their defense is amazing. Is that surprising? They traded for Drew Holiday. It's like, yeah, is it like there's just so many I don't know, just speed running stuff. Dame and the Bucks, I guess they looked really good in the first game. Their perimeter defense has shown some problems so far. The Grizzlies are 0-5 without Ja Morant. He's suspended for the first 25 games. Seemingly it's going to be tough for them. They lost Steven Adams for the whole season. Yeah, pretty much. The in-season tournament is happening right now. The Nuggets are playing the Mavs. Yeah, let me see if I can get an update on that. Yeah, I have Twitter ready on the Twitter segment. Okay, currently the Nuggets are up 102. The Mavericks are down. It's 102 to 87, so the Nuggets are up 15. So there you go. Okay, anything else happening? Who is the MVP? Okay, can we not have that conversation? Oh man, anything else then? Anything else? Yeah, so that's basically the WNBA thing. Oh yeah, I forgot the most important part. There's this... You may remember, if anyone is watching, I did talk about this guy. Like, there's this singer. He's called Usher. I don't know if you've heard of him. And like, you know, Usher. Oh man. Before the parade, Asia Wilson was like, "Hey Usher," she tweeted at Usher, "Hey, if you want to come here and like, you know, perform at the parade, you're welcome to." And then Usher responded after the parade of being like, "Okay, hey, I'm inviting all of the Aces to my concert in Vegas that's coming up." And then, just like one of the best like mini story arcs like like I've seen like in recent years, that like had like a setup and a conclusion that was extremely satisfying. He invited the Aces to the concert, you know, and and then Asia Wilson and the Aces ended up at the concert, and then yeah, they kind of owned it, man. Like Usher literally was serenading Asia Wilson, and then a bunch of them got up on stage, and then Chelsea Gray included, like went up with her walking boot, and then you know, I think it was Sydney Colson who was like, you know, getting low. It's like, God, like seriously, they were dancing all over the stage at Usher's concert. They got invited to. It's like, yeah, like what? Like seriously, like what a freaking ride it's been for the Las Vegas Aces, you know? Oh man. Yeah, that there you go. There you go. There's some WNBA stuff that I touch on. The most of the NBA stuff. People really got mad at Anthony Davis for freaking not showing up in the second half of the Lakers' first game against the Nuggets. He scored 0 points, and then the whole, you know, the usual thing. It's like, yeah, why can't AD be consistent? And it's like, oh God, again, we have this freaking thing. People are starting to use AI images. That's gonna be the new thing. Memes going around on NBA Twitter. Oh man, anything else before I move on to another topic? Oh man, books I've read. Okay, big headline: The Duff by Cody Keplinger is a feminist masterpiece. I don't really need to say more about that. Like The Duff, Cody Keplinger at freaking 17 years old, I think. Like, she wrote that book when she was a senior in high school. She was 17 writing that book. My God, like absolute freaking masterpiece of a book. Okay, yes, yes. I don't know. Like, I feel like this is what I want. You know, when I read YA books that came out, you know, back then, I guess. You know, like in the early 2010s and before. You know, I just kind of want to like. I'm just really curious of like what YA kind of was like, because I started reading YA in 2017. You know, and I started with books around that time mostly. Yeah, so The Duff is, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's, you know, it's really good. I don't know, if I were to blog again, I could like write a piece on it, you know. Oh man. Yeah, I guess like do I want to like specify a certain part of it? There's just like, yeah, like it's it deals with like, you know, casual sex and like hookups, you know, and like, you know, rethinking about like rethinking about the words we use to describe women, you know, of obviously, right, of like a girl who sleeps with a bunch of guys getting labeled as a slut immediately, right, and how, you know, the term duff designated ugly fat friend, and the term slut, you know, they might seem on opposite ends of the spectrum. Like the duff is like, oh, they don't get any freaking guys. No guy would ever date the duff, you know. And then like a slut who like sleeps with a bunch of different guys, you know, as like the stereotype, you know, like they're basically like two sides of the same coin, and like it's like useless to freaking like different. It's useless to, you know, like divide girls and women that way, you know, like there should be like absolute solidarity, right? There's this really good freaking scene in like, yeah, I guess I'm spoiling somewhat of the book, but I don't know. There's just like really good scene like near the end where like the main character's like putting it all together in a beautiful way that I really liked, where she's having this conversation with a girl who like she thought was like pregnant with some guy, right? Got pregnant by some guy, and then like she clears it up with her in a bathroom, right? And then like she's thinking like, you know, like I think of her as someone who just like sleeps with a bunch of guys, but it's like, yeah, and then she's like, so what? Like so what? Like she, and then like it's because like the girl's like really nice to her, you know, and like she didn't expect that, obviously, coming from like, you know, the main character's unpopular, the girl she's talking to is popular and has a reputation for sleeping with a bunch of guys, and she's like, look, like she can go and leave this conversation and sleep with another guy after this, and like it shouldn't change my opinion on her being like a really good and nice person. It shouldn't change my opinion of her, you know, something like that. I guess I'm not exactly spoiling it because I maybe haven't gotten it exactly right, but you know, she just like makes that conclusion of just like, why should I freaking judge her? Like it doesn't do anything, you know, it doesn't like help at all, you know, like we should like as women, you know, not freaking, you know, these words only freaking divide us rather than, you know, you know, help us out, you know, basically. That's why it's a feminist masterpiece. There you go. I just don't want to do the thing or like have like video essays and stuff about things. Oh man. Anyways, should I speedrun topics, man? How long has it been? 23. It's only been 23 minutes. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Speedrunning through topics. Doxing is bad. Okay. Next. All right. Remember a comedian by the name of Hassan Minhaj? All right. This was the thing that I didn't want to talk about. Maybe, I don't know. I was just like, do I want to talk about that New Yorker article? I don't know. What could I add? Like, you know. Oh man, he put out a response video of it, and then basically the big headline is that the article was, you know, misleading, just like the article tried to claim, the profile New Yorker article tried to claim about his comedy, was that like most of it didn't happen, right? Like he basically debunks that and like says at the very end, right? It's like the article said most of the stuff didn't happen to him, and throughout the video, it's like 20 minutes, he basically goes through like, no, most of it did happen, some of it did happen. I will concede that some of the stuff I've talked about in my stand-up specials like didn't happen, but like it's like as a storytelling comedian, which he considers himself, and a political comedian, he feels that like in storytelling comedy, the facts come second. In political comedy, the facts come first. And like, you know, in frickin' The King's Gesture, which is a storytelling comedic piece, and like his previous special before that, was it Homecoming King? Like, which is like a storytelling thing. He mostly, like, most of the stuff he was talking about did happen to him. It was just that for certain stories, he was embellishing details for emotional impact, you know? He did concede that, right? Oh man, and like it was a whole thing. He went through all the stuff, like the main things, like the article talked about, of like was it like a girl he got rejected by in high school, and like the girl later showed up to one of his specials, and he brought receipts, like actual receipts, and like brought up the audio recordings of like him being interviewed for the New Yorker article, and like the exact words he said, and like how the New Yorker article like either like misrepresented or like didn't show the full context of his quotes, or used the quotes to paint a narrative that wasn't exactly true. So, you know, I guess it's a cool thing, you know. It wasn't like I was waiting for that. I mean, I don't know. I think like if if that New Yorker article was 100% did end up being 100% true, and like Hassan didn't have a response to it, like I feel like if I were to have said something of it, I would be like, yeah, I get why people would be upset about like him lying about this stuff, but yeah, as it turns out, he was like, there is embellishment, but it's like, you know, with the story in particular about like anthrax, like he clarified it, right? Oh man, it would be better if I knew the exact details, but you know, this is how it goes, right? Oh man, I think like, yeah, it's the whole thing of like the New Yorker article originally was like, he in his special he claims that anthrax was like he opened an envelope and then anthrax fell on his daughter and then he went to the hospital, right? Because of it, right? But it's like, and then in reality, like, so like the truth of it, as Hassan explains in the video, was that a white powder did drop on his daughter that actually that wasn't anthrax, but he was like scared as hell, right, about it potentially being anthrax, and that his wife was like chewing him out about it, of like, what if it was, you know, what if, like, why, yeah, what if our daughter actually was in danger? So he used that incident to created a scene a scene where, like, imagine as if it was imagining, like, what if like it actually did happen and they were in the hospital, right? And it's like, if you know, I guess like even with that like added context, maybe I could see some people being like, you shouldn't freaking like use like hate crimes as that, like, as like the basis for like, you know, jokes, or even if they have an emotional core to it, especially if they aren't 100% true. But it's like that's the thing, as he explains, right? It's like he is a storytelling comedian. He thinks of like, the big conclusion I get from it is that he thinks of like his comedy is like a big like story he's telling, and like he's like picking and choosing like bits and pieces and characters that are the most effective in conveying like an emotional like conclusion from it, right? Like, that's the thing, that's what you do, is like, you know, a creative person, you manipulate details, right? And it's like, yeah, I guess my freaking conclusion that's original from it, I guess, is that, you know, he really should just consider writing novels and short stories, because I feel like people wouldn't get upset if like he just used like inspiration of like those real life events that happened to him and like just put it in like stories, you know. But I guess it's like, obviously he wants to be a comedian, he obviously loves like the form of comedy, and like the way he as a comedian, his style is like very like storytelling heavy, right? Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I guess it's like I was like watching like the video, like taking in the information, and I'm like, yeah, like what if he just like told his stories like a true freaking the format of a novel or a short story, you know? I don't know. We aren't all wired like that. I guess it's cool that he wants to do stand-up specials, and you know, it's good that like I really enjoyed how like direct and specific he was about the incidents that were in question, right? The biggest incidents that were in question, and like how, you know, the New Yorker article isn't like as freaking definitive as it originally was now, right? And then like I think yeah, I think like the author of the New York article, or like maybe the New Yorker themselves, like posted a thing that like, we stand by the statements, you know. I don't know, but it is a thing that like it's seeming, yeah, it's kind of hard to not see the New Yorker article on Hassan Minhaj as, you know, something where it's like it's trying to paint him in a certain light of like, this is how you should feel about him. Like, his comedy, most of it isn't true. And like, obviously like his response to it is like, no, like most of it is true. Some of it I embellished, and I embellish these things for emotional impact, and that's how I work as a comedian, right? That's how I want to like operate, as someone who like, tells stories, as someone who wants to tell stories and make jokes out of it, right? Like I can't, even though like I'm not even though all of the stuff I talk about didn't 100% happen to me, like I'm trying to like in the best way possible use like certain characters and bits and freaking, like the way he's you can't like fault him for, I mean you can fault him, I guess, if you want to, for lying about the stuff he did lie about, right? I guess lied about or like embellished or exaggerated or whatever, I guess you can criticize him for not being funny. Like that's obviously always like a valid criticism of a comedian, not thinking they're funny, right? It's like, yeah, obviously. There's a lot of people I don't really consider as funny, but I think it's like, yeah, I think for people who are like fans of him, it is like good to see, I guess like people who weren't fans of him, I guess, maybe like it probably doesn't change how they view him in their eyes. But, for me, like, I don't think the original New Yorker article like tanked my view of him in my eyes. Like that's the thing. Yeah, if you were to ask me of what my opinion was when only that article was out and his response wasn't out, like it didn't change my opinion negatively that much of him. I think like when I read it I was like, okay, I guess, I guess you could see it as like weird, but it is good that he released that response. All right, big topic out of the way. Another topic is sparkling water. Is it good? Yeah. What is the next freaking topic, man? What is the next topic of interest, man? Should I go back to the NBA? What happened in the NBA? Oh man, oh god, I don't know. Damn, I said I had like a lot of topics. Music I've been listening to Band of Horses. They were like a band, they were an indie rock band. They released this album in 2006 called Everything All the Time. It has a song called The Funeral on it. It was on the One Tree Hill soundtrack. That's when I first discovered them back in like 2017, and I didn't get the album until freaking last year, and I didn't put it on my phone that I listened to music until this year. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like The Funeral. Like, yeah, other songs on there are pretty good. There's a song called Weed Party on there. Oh man, anyways. Oh man, yeah, true. Oh yeah, true. How I started this episode. A Minecraft series ended. Yeah. A Minecraft series ended after 823 parts, man. Yeah. It is kind of like sad, but I saw like the final like Lovely World video, yeah, on YouTube. And it got 4 million views, and I'm like, yeah, wow, dude, there are people who still care about it, about Stampy as a YouTuber, I don't think like his videos outside of Minecraft have gotten that many views, but he is still uploading. He is still active and uploading. I think like I remember seeing that he was playing Zelda, was it Tears of the Kingdom, yeah. And like I remember like seeing like the Lovely World, a part of the Lovely World series at like 700 something, and I'm like, damn, this series is still going. I don't know. It's weird because like there's just so many things that like in 2019 that I was watching and then I just stopped, like for some reason or another in 2020. I think like I stopped watching that series. I never really watched that series. I watched the other series called the Quest series he did with Squid, and like the Den, the series he did with, was it Squishy, who he married in real life, Oh man, that's a throwback. Oh man, like in 2014, I was like watching that. It's weird because like his fan base, like obviously it was like primarily made up of like young children, probably like a bunch of like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds. But like I was in high school. That was the nostalgic thing about me. Like I got into the creatures before I got into Stampy. I got into Stampy in like 2014. Yeah. I guess like that's somewhat the time, but yeah, I was like 14, 15, 16 watching him when like probably most people were like 7, 8, 9, 10 watching him. So, oh man, yeah. You know, I hope I don't know what he's currently doing. Yeah, I remember like an update video he put out in like 2018 or 2019 and said he was like writing a book or something. He started writing like a short he was gonna film in Minecraft, you know. He was starting to do like different things like film shorts in Minecraft, you know, to branch out a little bit. And then like he said that he was writing a short and then it got so long or so big that like he just decided to write a novel or something. I wonder what that status of that is. Oh man, yeah. Yeah, like another like YouTuber I stopped watching in 2019 was Ryan Higa. Obviously, I mean he stopped uploading in 2020, you know, and then so I don't know what happened. He just moved to only streaming on Twitch for some reason. I mean, I don't know, something with the pandemic. I don't know, man. I don't know. There was just some point I was checking his second channel, like, and like there was just a point where it just turned into just playing games. I don't know, man. There was a point in like 2021 and 2022 where I kept on seeing like clips of him reacting to old videos. Yeah. But like in 2019, like the last thing I remember was that he started the Off the Pill podcast. Yeah, where like he was going, where it was his own podcast like everyone does now. I don't know if it's still going. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like I watched like a few episodes of it and then stopped. It was running through 2019. It probably isn't freaking a thing today. Yeah. Oh man, just, you know, a couple of YouTubers that I forgot about during the pandemic, and then like suddenly like in 2022 and like now I'm like, damn dude, look at them. Look at Stampy, man. I don't know, am I gonna watch? I went back and like watched a few like early videos, you know. I don't know, there really is just a charm to just what he did, you know, like how like the formula of it, of like him like doing that intro that I tried to parody. If you weren't aware, and then, you know, like him eating cake and freaking him like building all of the mini games and like the way his world had this unique aesthetic to it. I don't know, man. There's just such a charm to what he did. He really was like doing it differently, you know, like you could tell, you know, the effort he put in in trying to make his videos. I don't know, way more than the effort I put in, you know. I just talk about, I tweeted like I want to carry on the legacy, okay? I don't think I'm gonna get to 800 parts, but you know, maybe if I just split these up. I want to get to 100. Yeah, I want to get to 100. I have somewhat of an idea of what I want to do. It's pretty like, it's not effort. It's not the most effort, but I think I have an idea of what I want to do. If I ever get to 100, which will probably be next year. Yeah, I should probably just batch record just a bunch of episodes to catch up, so I won't have to record as much next year. Oh man, anything else that happened? Oh man, dude. Oh god. God damn, there's a Five Nights at Freddy's movie that came out. People care about that? I mean, like, I don't, God, okay. There's another movie that came out. It's called Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese, you know? It deals with the Osage tribe and, like, their systematic, how, like, you know, they got systematically wiped out, you know? It's interesting. There's, like, basically, you know, cinema, a lot of people are praising it. Okay, so what else has been going on? Oh yeah, Taylor Swift released 1989 Taylor's version. I talked about that song. Yeah, true. It's just a weird thing to just like name, to like that like slut exclamation point, man. It's like, damn, it really should have been Duff exclamation point. Oh man, but you know, I don't know. Apparently the choice was between that song and Blank Space originally, and then Slut got relegated to the vault. Oh man, anything else before I get to the Twitter segment? You know, like I said, like there's like just a lot to talk about, and like, yeah. What like topic do I keep punting, man? What topic do I keep punting? Oh man, well, the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal officially went through. That's if anyone cares, you know, like Microsoft officially owns Call of Duty and freaking World of Warcraft and freaking yeah, oh yeah, like anything Blizzard makes, anything Activision makes, Microsoft owns it now. It was like a whole process that got talked about, you know. I'm only mentioning that because yeah, I think I briefly talked about it. I started watching / listening to a couple gaming, yeah, that's right, gaming podcasts, Defining Duke and like was it the Iron Lords podcast? Defining Duke has Mr. Matty Plays on it. Yeah, he was someone who like I watched another one I watched like as a teenager and stopped watching, but have like picked him back up now, just for, yeah, specifically for that podcast. I don't know. I just saw that he was on. I just saw like a thumbnail and was like, oh, this seems interesting, and then just started like watching true episodes, and that was a thing. I saw, yeah. So yeah, Microsoft owns that. Is it gonna work out? A lot of people, yeah, like, oh yeah, I guess like also in gaming, Spider-Man 2 came out. I don't know why are these topics, man? I'm running out of freaking stuff to talk about, and it's only been freaking like what? Not even an hour left. Oh man, it's not even an hour. It's just a lot of stuff, okay? A lot of stuff. What else happened this month? Halloween, candy, anything, man. Dude. There's a new speaker, I guess, in the House of Representatives. Oh man. Oh god. Oh man. Oh god. Anything else, dude? Anything else? Any freaking thing else, man? I hate flailing like this. Usually I want to come up with these on the fly. Oh yeah, true. How did I freaking not freaking come up with all? Like I must be missing something. A bunch of freaking stuff, man. Oh god. All right. I don't like oysters, man. Like I've never really gotten the appeal of oysters, but like going somewhere and eating like 48 of them, like oh man, dude, freaking $15 for a dozen oysters, and then you go and eat freaking 60. You eat freaking you eat like was 48 oysters. You eat 4 dozen in front of a date, and then the date leaves you or something, and then you film it for TikTok, and people get upset or something, and they're like, oh man, and then another one, and then another one. What is an acceptable place to go on a first date? That oyster place? Maybe, but you know, you might run into some problems if you go to other restaurants, particularly a restaurant that you can get cheesecake at, but it's like most people don't go for the cheesecake. It's weird how it's called the Cheesecake Factory. Yeah, it's called the Cheesecake Factory, but like it's people go there for like basically everything other than cheesecake. I don't know. It must be surprising, like from the waiter's perspective, where when like someone is like, can we look at the cheesecake? Can we get the cheesecake or something? But it's like I was in one, and it's like, yeah, like it's like it was this like big ass building, and like the cheesecakes like were like separate, you know, and like they were expensive, man. It's like, I don't know, man. Like yeah, why would you get it there, like, and not just like at Vaughn's for like friggin' $12 or $13 for like a regular sized cheesecake, you know? Yeah, I don't know. Is it acceptable to take a date out to Cheesecake Factory? Will a woman accept that? Oh man, the question that defines our generation. Oh man, yeah, do I have anything to say about that? I don't know. It shouldn't be a thing where I only bring up stuff. Yeah, I talked about like chain restaurants before, right? Of like how like it's weird how like people put Red Lobster in the same category as Applebee's, when it's like Red Lobster offers like pretty damn good seafood, and Applebee's offers like nothing, you know? It offers like cheap drinks. That's all it offers, like in terms of like actually good food. It's like, I don't know, man. I guess like Olive Garden has its stands, but it's like, dude, like, I don't know. Oh god, like just oh man, dude. Yeah, apparently. Yes. So many freaking things are just like, this happened on a TikTok, and then it gets brought to Twitter, and then it has a discourse on Twitter. Or, less often, it's like, here's a Reddit post, and then it gets brought, and then it gets screenshotted and put on Twitter, and people talk about it on Twitter, and it's like, okay, great, we're freaking discoursing about this, we're talking about this. Oh man, anyways, yeah. Book drama. Anything freaking happen? Anything happen? I don't know. Yeah, it's been so long. I think it's good that probably like so much, yeah, that I haven't really done an episode in a while. I don't know. What was like the book drama-esque stuff like I was talking about last time? Oh yeah, like the prose stuff. Yeah, stuff about prose, Yeah, if I want to loop it back around to like the Israel and Palestine, that topic, right? Like a lot of people are just like, yeah, a lot of authors also are revealing their somewhat like true colors and or like agendas, by it's a whole thing. There's been a large discussion about like oppression narratives that like white authors often like write about, and like the appeal of dystopian stories is just the fact that like white people get to like create a scenario where like, oh, here is a scenario where like people are oppressed, right? And like, just like devoid like of like any like actual like deep like criticism. They're able to freaking like garner freaking sympathy, and like brownie points for like using that as like a narrative framing device, Avatar included, right? Yeah, like use that. But like when it comes to like real life, like freaking like, do you stand with like, are you willing to stand like are you willing to take a stand against genocide and stuff like this by like issuing a statement in support of Palestine, right? And it's like, no, yeah, I guess they don't. I guess, like, yeah, I don't know if I've saved tweets, but like, yeah, like it's a whole thing like talking about like dystopian stories where it's like white people imagining like a world where like these people are oppressed, right? They're taking inspiration from like real life, but like like not having the smartest freaking things to say, or like having like totally opposite like views in real life, where like real life instances of oppression happen, Yeah. Speaking of like a white author and people getting mad, there was a book announcement about a white author writing a book called Greenwich. She got a publishing deal, and it deals with like trauma. It deals with like something falling in love with a black nanny, and then like race and privilege, and like it's a white author writing about privilege when it comes to race and privilege, right? And like, it's another instance of like, can they do that? Why do they keep on getting to do that? Why do big five publishers and editors keep on freaking are willing to publish those stories when like there's such a freaking like gap, there's such a freaking gap in terms of like publishing, in terms of representing BIPOC voices and stuff. Like you're choosing to publish yet another freaking white author like who's writing about issues of another race, yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah, so yeah, it's like it's following in the trend of like probably the criticism that like American Dirt got, or like there's like another like book deal announcement that he didn't talk about that happened like a few months ago, of like there's this white author again who has gotten a book deal where it's like a fantasy book inspired by feudal Japan, right? And it's like and like her qualification is like being abroad in Japan. So like it's like, oh, I just love Japanese culture, and then a white woman is writing like a fantasy heavily inspired by Japan and like few Japanese aesthetics, and like, you know, maybe you could have, you know, offered a book deal to an actual Japanese author, but you know, whatever. It's fine. And like, you know, obviously just people are like, you know, like doing that. Yeah. Anyways, I have a bookmark related to this. Yeah. If I want to do the Twitter segment early. Oh my god, dude, come on. Okay, here. Jesus, man. X is getting ruined, man. Ruined. One person whose tweets are really interesting. It's a black woman whose tweets about the book publishing industry, I feel like, are very like interesting. Like her opinions are freaking, you know, I really like what she says, you know. And then she says, one day I'd like to have a convo of how white queerness is the kid temp hot chocolate of diversity, and how white queers position BIPOC as perfect love interests to teach their white queer MCs about life and love. BIPOC love interests are the new manic pixie dream girls for white queers. Dare I said it. Oh man, oh god. Yeah, true. Another thing, yeah. The conflict between people of color and like white queer people, you know, like it was one of the main things of the pit light situation I talked about like at the end of the year last year, right? Like, oh man, it's a whole thing. Yeah. So much. I guess if you wanted book drama, there you go. Yeah. I think there was like some other stuff, but whatever. Oh man. Anything else? Yeah. God. Yeah, can I offer some personal updates? Am I writing? It's like, yes, but like really not that much, man. My goal, yeah, obviously I'm not doing NaNoWriMo, but it's like, yeah, I haven't even written today, man. Damn, that sucks. I would like to write, but yeah. My goal for this month is just to write about 5,000 words, because if I write about 5,000 words, I'll be at like 10k for the thing I'm currently writing right now. So that's basically it. Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess another thing that happened, I guess, that I want to talk about. An anime that's like really, really freaking good. Sound Euphonia, man. Kyoto Animations, man. Like, yeah, like KyoAni is the best anime studio. I do not want to hear anything else, man. KyoAni is objectively the best anime studio. And it's an interesting thing because like KyoAni isn't the anime studio where I have like my most highly rated shows according to my Annie list or Mal or whatever, right? That's JC staff, I think. I don't know. They put out like Honey and Clover and Toradora and like, yeah, like, you know, I think like, yeah, I don't know. It could be JC staff, it could be Madhouse, it could be Sunrise just because of Gintama and Love Live alone. But like, oh man, dude, Kyoto Animations, man. Like watching Sound Euphonium, yeah, the second season, like, it's just, I don't know. I was just reminded of just like the amount of care and just effort and detail and just the beauty of like watching an anime like that. like in terms of slice of life anime, like Kyoto Animations are just the GOAT, just the undisputed greatest at frickin' doing those shows, you know? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't necessarily keep up with like specific people involved in making anime, but one thing I do know is that this woman Naoko Yamada, who directed, I think she directed Liz and the Bluebird and A Silent Voice, and she also directed like Tamako Love Story. She was the director for Sound Euphonium seasons 1 and 2, I think, and like, you know, you can tell one thing that's been getting memed about in regards to like stuff she directs and like her stamp, as you'd call it, right, in directing, is that she like has a lot of shots of girls' legs. Oh man, and that's like the thing, you know, she uses, you know, a bit of Tarantino in her, but you know, it's fine, right? There's like multiple shots where like characters are like barefoot, you know, it's like, you know, but I feel, yeah, like I think it's like it drives the point home of like I don't know, just like how you can like infer like characters' emotions, you know, through how they like portray how they sit and like stand and like how they like tap their feet or something, you know, something like that. Anyways, Sound Euphonium is about a girl, Kumiko, who joins a concert band in high school, and like her feelings about herself and like wanting to be better, wanting to freaking improve and like be good at concert band. And there's this other girl who plays the trumpet, Reina. You know, they're just like really close friends who hold hands in multiple episodes, and it's like, dude, undertones don't even begin to describe it, man. It's not even an undertone. It might be an overtone. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like Sound Euphonium, man, yeah, one of the best like animes I've seen this year, the second season, right? And like the first season was also like really freaking good. Yeah. Yeah, I guess like me, like I've had a streak of like watching really good shows. I also watched the third season of Chihiafaru, and like, oh man, Chihiafaru also is the best anime about a card game. Like, sorry, like I don't know what other freaking shows are about card games, Yu-Gi-Oh, but like, no. Like Chihiafaru is objectively the best show ever made about a card game. It's like, yes, just like, oh man, like, yeah, man, it's a great show, such a great show. It's similar to like Trigatsu, but I feel like there's like a bit of a more of a romantic angle to it, you know? And like it has like this kind of like shonen kind of aspect to it, where it's like each episode, like a lot of the show is in arcs, you know, and like a lot of episodes deal with like a tournament, like of a karata tournament, because it's about this like weird game called karata. It's steeped in like Japanese freaking culture, where like two people sit down and like swipe at freaking cards. There's like 100 poems, and like and like there's like this reader in this Japanese voice who like there's this reader who like reads all these ancient Japanese poems by 100 poets, and then the first one to swipe at a card that gets read is, I don't know, it's a whole thing. Yes, that's also another show I've watched. Yeah, did I finish explaining why I love Sound Euphonium? You know, those undertones and how warm it sounds, basically. Yeah, there's a really good Under the Scope video that I saw before I even watched the series back in like 2018. It was just called like, yeah, it was called, yeah, Sound Euphonium, like how warm it sounds, you know? And that's like one of the last lines in the series, in the second season. Yeah, and it just, yeah, that's basically how to describe the show. It sounds warm, you know? It sounds so warm and it feels so warm, you know? Like, I don't know. It just, the animation of it, you know, how, you know, it's just, it's yeah. Absolutely, I'm recommending it. Yeah, there you go. So basically, is that basically it? Oh man, a lot of stuff, a lot of freaking stuff, and it's under an hour too. Oh man, oh god, those are just a lot. Oh man, am I gonna listen to like any more of Taylor Swift's albums? I don't know why. Yeah, am I gonna listen to 1989 Taylor's version? I don't know. Am I gonna watch the WNBA more? Yes. Especially when Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers and like Cameron Brink enter the league. You know, especially when they come back. You know, well, not come back. Well, am I gonna watch the women's college basketball season? Probably not. But I'm gonna tune in when March Madness happens. I bet you that I'm gonna care about it a lot more than freaking the men's tournament. Even though the men's tournament had SDSU in it, you know, in the championship game. Oh man. Yeah. I'm gonna be interested in like seeing those players. Yeah, and like Angel Reese and Haley Van Lith in friggin' LSU. You know, I saw like a clip. They were like LSU was up like 100. LSU was up like 60 points at one point in that clip. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to what outfits Kim Mulkey wears. Yeah. Oh yeah, the World Series was between the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. A lot of people didn't care about it. I watched a little bit of it. It was an interesting World Series somewhat, you know, Texas, you know. Yeah, okay, cool. Anyways, yeah. Also, Also. James Harden, there was a clip that I will not freaking show. There was something someone said on a sports talk show about James Harden that I will not repeat no matter what. Okay, there you go. Okay, I guess on to the Twitter segment, right? Yeah. Okay, it's been way too long. Here is the long-awaited Twitter segment. Hopefully, I will find a bunch of tweets and it'll be better. Hopefully. Okay, how did I forget about this when talking about the NBA? There's this player, like, I don't know if you've heard of him. His name is Victor Wembanyama, and like, he has arrived, man. He has arrived. It's over. It's over for the league. It's over for basketball. It's over for like trying, like if you're just a kid, and you're watching Victor Wembanyama, right? It's like, is it even worth it at this point to even like try, even make your high school team, right? Like if you like come on, man. He put up 38 points and 10 rebounds against the Suns last night, and like, my God, dude. Like the stuff he was doing, right? It's over, man. It's over. It's going to be his league sooner rather than later, man. I mean, it may be an overreaction, but like, I don't think it's an overreaction that like Wembanyama is gonna be an amazing freaking player, right? It's like, yeah, no, he probably is gonna be one of the best like 15 players to ever play the game by the time he retires. Even without a championship, even if he only has like one championship in his career, it's like, nah, he's probably gonna be like one of the greatest to ever play the game. There you go. That's Victor Wembanyama for you. Oh, and another thing that I missed. Do I even want to talk about it, man? It's like, oh man. Two people had a competition. This is like, what, a week ago at this point? I don't even know, man. Man. You think I'd be freaking more interested to talk about like a boxing and MMA crossover? you know, I'm not. I really do not care, man. Ngannou freaking challenged Tyson Fury. He knocked him down. It's like, yeah, that is cool, but it's like, I don't know, man. From like a boxing versus MMA perspective, I'm just tired of like thinking about it. Like, I've moved on with my life. Like I've moved on. I still like prefer freaking boxing over mixed martial arts, and I really, like everything I think about MMA still stands. I don't care for it. I don't want to watch it, right? Like I really hate it when freaking MMA fighters want to fight boxers, right? And like those things happen, and like discourse gets brought up about like stuff like that, and like this is just a case of like, damn, see, look at that, Ngannou won the fight, and like, I guess it's like, you could I'm willing to concede that, like there is an argument that Ngannou won that fight. I didn't watch it, but it's just a whole thing of just like MMA people, Ariel Helwani, one of them, like in particular, just like so freaking like, dude, this guy, like he won the fight, I don't freaking care. It's like, okay, all right, okay, I guess he did, I don't know. It is a thing. Like I'm not doing any. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not diminishing what Ngannou did. Like, it is pretty damn significant, right? Like, it is pretty damn impressive that this happened, but, I don't know. It's a great story for him if you know his story, right? Like, like he was, like he had like, his life story is like, there's a lot of stuff that he went through just to even get into MMA in particular. But it's like, I don't know. I wasn't like too sure, but like, didn't Dana White, like, wasn't he the reason that he's not freaking in the UFC anymore? Like, I don't know. Shouldn't there? I don't know. But like, he decides to be a free agent and like do any deal he wants, and like in his first boxing match ever, he freaking knocks down the heavyweight champion of the world, the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, legitimately, and freaking, and Tyson Fury in response in one round like elbowed him. Oh man, there like a lot of people thought that Fury robbed Ngannou and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and like Ngannou, like, yeah, like from the highlights I've seen, obviously did not watch the whole fight. Why would I? You know, he freaking actually fought him pretty damn well, right? But it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I think like me originally thinking about it being like, oh, he had an off night. He didn't really care for this fight. He wasn't training for it. He cared more about facing Usyk, which was originally going to be slated for December 23rd, but it's now been pushed back, right? Eddie Hearn went from like freaking, oh, Ngannou has no chance. Oh, he has no chance to beat Tyson Fury. Yeah, right. And then now he's like, we need to get Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua to fight. It's like, okay, all right. Like, freaking, what a freaking sly-ass businessman you are, Eddie Hearn. Oh, man. It's like, and just totally being like, Ngannou won that fight. He won. Oh, man. It's like, yeah, obviously, like, he's hyping up, like, he wants to make the fight happen. He wants to make a fight between Anthony Joshua and Ngannou because he's confident that AJ beats Ngannou, right? But it is, yeah, like, it does raise an interesting question because, like, yeah, I feel like, yeah, like, his performance was legit, right? It's like, he did, like, do pretty damn well in that fight, and, you know, I guess it's like, I'm not gonna argue with anyone who says that, like, he might have won the fight, whatever, like, it's just whatever at this point, you know, for me, but, like, if you think about, like, yeah, the heavyweight division, and, like, the top freaking people, I wonder who, like who Ngannou can beat in that division now. Like, I wonder, like, if you had him fight people like Dillian White or something, or like Andy Ruiz, or like, you know, like people like those, right? Even Wilder or something. It's like, yeah, how would he fare, right? Is it just that? Is it just that freaking Tyson Fury just did not give a shit, or is it something bigger than that? You know? Yeah, obviously, like, I don't want to diminish what Ngannou did. It was spectacular. It was tremendous what he did, right? Like, no one freaking gave him a shot, even in the MMA community. But, like, now it's just, like, an opportunity for people who are primarily fans of MMA to freaking be extremely cocky and freaking gloating all over boxing fans, being like, oh, they're so upset right now. Boxing's reputation, this is why judges give bad decisions. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's a whole thing, man. So I guess that's another thing that happened, man. Yeah, cool. Oh, man. Me, I feel like I should just retire freaking the whole conflict, you know. I should retire me freaking making it a part of my personality, you know. I should just not care anymore. I should just focus on being into basketball, like I should, you know. I really should just focus on that. So moving forward, I guess I'm gonna try to not harp on frickin' it any that much, but, you know, if it comes to me, I probably will go back to it, but at least not for now. I'm too into basketball, okay? Here's an interesting tweet relating to what I was talking about before. I guess that illustrates the point better. Someone tweeted, y'all love a rebellion when it's in your effing dystopian novels, cheering on Katniss Everdeen and the like, but when real people fight for their real freedom, suddenly it's, I don't condone violence and I stand with the colonial settler state. I don't know. Yeah, I've talked about that, yeah, before, but like, yeah, this tweet was from October 8th. Yeah, it was from my freaking birthday, man. Yeah, did I mention I'm 23 now? Yeah, I'm old. I am freaking old, man. But, you know, I guess, yeah, I've already talked about that angle of it, but, like, I guess an interesting thing, I guess, that's been on my mind is the Hunger Games, you know? The Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is gonna be, like, released, like the film that's based, yeah, the prequel book that came out in like 2019, the film version, the adaptation of it is gonna come out like in a couple weeks, and Olivia Rodrigo has a song out for it, you know, and it's like people are like really hyped up, like there's like it's another thing for quote teenage girls in their 20s, and you know, I guess I guess like my perspective as someone who's never had a Hunger Games phase or a YA dystopian phase, it's like it's interesting that like a lot of people, there is a certain section of people who are clamoring for dystopian books and like stories to come back, and like I would assume like there's a lot of people of color involved in that, right? Of just like you can make like dystopian stories about, you know, actual just like real world issues like from a way more freaking smarter, I guess, like a better perspective of like people of color, because like it would probably be a lot more stories where like it's clearly that white people are the oppressor and the evil, freaking the source of evil in the stories, right? I get that, but like I don't know, like the whole like nostalgia for like the YA dystopian like era is like like were you really nostalgic for it other than the Hunger Games, right? It's like there's just so much, yeah, like there's just so much talk of just like the dystopian stuff. And it's like you're really only talking about the Hunger Games, because it's like I swear to God, you are not talking about Delirium, you know? You're not talking about Divergent. You're not freaking talking about Matched, okay? It's like there's a lot of people, yeah, I've seen like a certain sentiment of like, you know, people wanting dystopian to come back in YA, but it's like obviously with like the fresh perspective of like, yeah, like white oppressors, you know, and like people of color, and like the being, yeah, people of color being way more involved in that, you know, is a good idea. But like I don't know, man. It's like you were nostalgic for the Hunger Games, all right? It's like the Hunger Games is like the one that did it the best. You know, I've never read it, you know. Maybe I'll read it at some point in my life, but yeah, like it's like that's the specific thing you're nostalgic for. Just say you're specifically nostalgic for the Hunger Games and not the YA dystopians, man. It's like maybe The Giver, like people are talking about, or like maybe like Scythe, you know, like because that's technically a freaking dystopian. But like isn't like Uglies like that like also is a dystopian based on like, you know, attractiveness or something? It's like you're not freaking nostalgic for those stories, right? Like you're not. I really do not think those people who are saying that are, you know, it's like you're nostalgic for the Hunger Games, okay? I don't know. It's just a thing I was just thinking about that. I don't know. I felt like I should have said earlier, but you know, it got pushed back because of all the stuff. Another thing, yeah, God, dude, I keep on forgetting a lot of things, man. A lot of things have happened in like the month that I recorded episodes. Yeah. Oh man, a sad. It is kind of sad, you know. If you didn't know, I would assume most people don't know, but Showtime boxing, officially at the end of the year is gonna be no more. They're gonna have like one last like pay-per-view card, and like they're gonna be shuttered at the end of the year. It's just not gonna be a thing anymore. You know, like another broadcast network, HBO, right? Who like I've like talked about is like an important thing for me. You know, like fostering my love as a young boxing fan, right? Yeah, HBO was like important to me as like a young boxing fan, like fostering my love of the sport, and like was driving a lot of my nostalgia, you know, of like, yeah, you know, like watching like pay-per-views back then of Manny Pacquiao fights and like watching 24/7. But like obviously like Showtime was big in that too, right? And I assume a lot of people had nostalgia for both, you know. But like I don't know, HBO was my freaking thing, but I also recognize that like Showtime, like also, you know, because they were the two main freaking networks. Yeah, they were the two main broadcasters that like had the majority of boxing fights for like a whole like era of like mainly like the 80s, 90s, and like 2000s, right? Like it was, yeah, it stopped at some point in like the 80s or something. Like it stopped, boxing stopped being on like networks like CBS or NBC and like got moved to HBO and Showtime with the pay-per-view model, basically, right? And like as time has shown, like the pay-per-view model, right, is like old and outdated, and like a lot more people like are illegally streaming freaking fights, you know, and that impacts numbers, right, and ratings and whatever, right? And like, you know, just like alternative options like DAZN, right? Like DAZN like seems to be the future of like how people watch boxing, right? Like a streaming service, you know, even though you have to pay like freaking $20 a month for, and it's like, oh god, it's just is it like who like wants to pay that much, right? Like, yeah. And also, like, since PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, who like Errol Spence is a part of, primarily, most notably, like is also associated with Showtime. There's like talks of like where they will go under, you know, like Amazon has been talked about. I recently saw like Netflix might be a friggin' place where fights could be friggin' staged. I don't know, man. Like, it's just like, yeah, the rights for like boxing are up for grabs, I guess, and Amazon is like a prime contender for it, as they always are for freaking things. Yeah, I guess it's like eulogizing Showtime. Like, it is like sad, you know. Like, I feel like it should be more of a eulogy for that, like the pay-per-view broadcasting model and that era when it was just HBO and Showtime as like the two main sources of like how people watched boxing matches, right? And like the 24/7 and like the all access that Showtime did, right? It is pretty like cool that like Showtime got to continue for 5 years after HBO, right? But like to do that, they also had to like show Jake Paul's fights, you know. That also was a conceit of it. They also, well, it was in 2017, but like Mayweather McGregor was on freaking Showtime, you know, like right before, like a month before Canelo Golovkin, the first fight, which was on HBO. I remember that being like an interesting kind of thing happening that year, right? And like, you know, even though they had to do those things, right? Even though they had to show like Jake Paul fights in like what 2021 or something, yeah, like to like survive, I guess. You know, they still like had like a bunch of like good fights. You know, Gervonta Davis was mainly fighting on Showtime and like his all access things, right? And like this year, like Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis was on Showtime. Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford was on Showtime, you know? It's like, yeah, they got to have, like, some, like, pretty big fights, like, in the years since HBO went away. So, I appreciate them for that. Like, I appreciate that, you know, like, this old freaking outdated model of boxing still got to persist, you know? Like, it's not that, like, pay-per-views are outdated, it's just that, like, the way they were doing it with, like, Showtime and HBO is kind of outdated, you know? Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously there's still going to be pay-per-views moving forward for boxing, but I don't know. Just, like, I would assume, like, financially, it just wasn't freaking tenable, you know? Yeah, and it sucks. Yeah, it just sucks that, like, you know, it's not good. Yeah, that, like, you would just, I don't know how you watch boxing legally now, right? I guess it is just true to zone at this point, you know? But, like, I don't know. Like, stuff like, yeah, what Showtime was doing, like, Showbox, you know? Of, like, going to specific, like, places, right? And, like, hosting boxing matches, right? And, like, what HBO was doing back then with Boxing After Dark, where like the appeal of it was that they were showcasing like what they thought were competitive fights and like going to like places you wouldn't normally go to, like was it the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut or like San Antonio or like, you know, just like places like those, you know? Yeah, like Eric Morales was on friggin' Boxing After Dark. Yeah, Barrera Morales, the first fight was on Boxing After Dark, and Gaddy Ward, the first, like, 2 fights were on Boxing After Dark, right? It's like, yeah, like, some of the greatest freaking, like, fights happened on those, cards, you know? And, like, yeah, I don't know. I guess, like, continuing the eulogy is just sad that, like, this kind of era that, like, that fostered me as a boxing fan, like, is going away, right? But I don't know. Like, what is going to be my relationship towards, like, being a fan of boxing now, you know, like, in terms of, like, watching it? Because I really, like, to be honest, I really do not watch fights that much. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's too much effort to do any like other means of like watching fights, and I don't want to pay for a freaking subscription. I don't want to pay freaking $20 a month, man. It's like, come on. I have better things to spend my money on, man. But like, it's just a sad thing. But it was cool that Showtime got the freaking continue for 5 years after HBO, even if they had to show Jake Paul fights, even if they had to do that. But like, yeah, like I guess like a reason why I wasn't that much into Showtime versus HBO later on, it was because of the commentators. Yeah, it was because of freaking this one guy, Mauro Ranallo. It's like, dude, like I can't get into his commentary, man. It's just freaking like he came from commentating wrestling, and it shows. It's like, it's too much, man. It's too freaking much. Give me Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant and like Roy Jones, man. It's like, please, man. A lot of people have like opinions on like commentary when it comes to like the NFL or like baseball, but it's like, for me, it's like, dude, there's like the ideal broadcast commentary booth for boxing, and it's freaking Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant, or Max Kellerman and Roy Jones, and like, or George Foreman. It's like, come on, man. It's like, ugh, God. And yeah, and obviously Emmanuel Stewart, rest in peace, Emmanuel Stewart. But like, that was basically my nostalgia for it. And I don't know, I guess like I obviously like boxing is still like a thing I'm like passionate about. Maybe not as much as basketball anymore. It's so weird, man. But I guess like my relationship with watching it is gonna have to change. I guess it's just a sign of things changing, as they always do. Things can't really stay the same forever. They have to change. So I guess rest in peace, Showtime. You will be missed. I'll probably just go back and like watch a bunch of fights that they've uploaded on YouTube as remembrance. So yeah, I guess I'll be doing that in the future. I guess I have to end the episode at some point. Yeah, this is probably the end of the episode. I've talked about a lot of things, mostly frickin' whatever. Very me-coded, the stuff I talked about. But I guess if you want a last tweet a bookmarked. Back on October 8th, it just says, a cold room at night and a cold room in the mornings are two different colds. And this, yeah, it is something, right? Where it's like, if it's cold, like it being cold at night versus it being cold in the morning, right? It's like, I would much rather it be cold at night than it be cold in the morning, like, because it being cold in the morning is preventing you from getting out of bed. And a lot of times when you have, school or a job, it's like, yeah, like getting out of bed is pretty important, right? It's like you need to freaking like get out of bed quickly, and like it being cold in the morning is preventing you from doing that. But like it being cold at night, I guess it's preventing you from going to sleep, but like it's not as much of a hindrance as it being cold in the morning, right? Like, especially if it's cold at night after a summer day, like that's what you want, right? But it being cold in the morning, right? It's like, yeah, that's not freaking enjoyable. So I guess that was this episode, man. Yeah, I tried to freaking talk about a lot of things. I probably missed a bunch, man, but like, I don't know, I guess I'll get to it in the future, man. I guess, yeah. The stuff I said in the beginning, I really do, yeah, I hope, I know I'm not the most educated on it, like, but it's like, I just felt like I needed to freaking say that, like there are certain issues where I feel like people should make their opinions clear, yeah, I don't feel like I'm doing anything freaking heroic or anything by like saying it, but it's not, yeah, it's not really about that. I don't know. I think it's just like a thing. I feel like, it's better, for me. I feel like if I just make my opinions clear, I should make my opinions clear when it comes to like important, actually important issues. So yeah. And another actually important issue is that James Harden is, I don't know, I feel like I might want to root for freaking the Clippers, man. I feel like I might want to root for the Clippers with James Harden. I don't know, man. I feel like I might want to. Well, I don't know. I guess I like Tyrese Maxey on the Sixers. I like how Tyrese Maxey is blossoming under the Sixers. But like, I can't root for the Sixers, man. I still can't root for them, man. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. It's existential. My freaking rooting against the Sixers, you know, specifically. The Phillies, not so much, but like, oh yeah. I didn't talk about that. Bryce Harper, a player for the Phillies, wearing a Patrick Beverly jersey in a Game 7. Like, come on, man. And they blew it to the freaking Diamondbacks. It's like, Jesus. Oh my God, dude. Like, ugh. Ugh. Like, he wore a friggin' Patrick Beverly jersey. It's like, wow. Like, a guy who hasn't even been on the team for like a month or something. It's like, dude, come on, man. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, he had to comment like, I'm not a system player, I am a system. And what I tweeted was, I want to say something, but I got mad at myself. You know, a play on the freaking, can I say something without getting mad? You know, a play on that. Yeah, I just want to be creative. I want to be funny, you know. But like, I don't know, man. In my mind, I'm like, I kind of want to root for the Clippers, man. I want to root for the Clippers over the Lakers, definitely, right? Yeah, the Lakers won the Battle of LA versus the Clippers. Might have mentioned that, but like, yeah, I might want to, because Russell Westbrook is on the Clippers, and I really like Russell Westbrook. You know, I taught what he got. He got such an unfair rap from the Lakers. You know, it would be nice to see Westbrook doing well and going further than the Lakers in the playoffs, at least this season. So, anyways, I guess that's basically the episode. I'm sure I missed a lot. I'll get to it in the subsequent episodes. Hopefully, all of this recorded and I can get all of it. I'm still freaking on this version of Minecraft. I will continue on the legacy of this guy right here. Maybe I'll make a cake and eat it in the next episode, you know? Man, maybe, but yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.